Duke goes into Chapel Hill in North Carolina's last chance to be able to really stamp an at-large kind of resume together for the NCAA tournament, and wins 82-69 after I think they were down by as many as 6 in the second half, right? And this was a night where it just kind of felt like something weird was going to happen in this rivalry. RJ Davis was throwing everything in for about a 10-minute stretch at the end of the first half and in the first 5 minutes of the second half. You had Jalen Withers making a couple of shots, right? Then Allen Lubin was doing some stuff on the glass. Seth Trimble even made a 3. And it felt like this might be one of those nights where things go completely off the rails in one of the best rivalries in all of sports. And then Duke said, you know what? We're just not going to let you score any more points here. And pulled away, won 82-69. Goodman, is there anything more that we could have learned from this Duke team in a performance like this?
I think it was just, again, the methodical nature of Carolina had everything to play for. They did. They came out. I mean, everybody. It was like royalty at the Dean Dome tonight. Our boy Tyler Hansbrough was there. Lawrence Taylor was there. Bill Belichick. I mean, it was ridiculous. So if these guys weren't up for this one, something was wrong. And they came out and they played hard. They did. They played hard. They competed. They were tough. And then in the second half, it was like, honestly, and Cooper Flagg had 3 fouls in the first half. They came out in the second half, and I think Cooper and those guys, whatever Shire said to him, and I'm not sure he even needed to say much, they came out and they were like, all right, this shit's over. Like, we're not dealing with this shit. We are much better. We're gonna turn off the water with these guys first, and then get out in transition, get some buckets, and man, it flipped quickly. And the big thing is Carolina had RJ, and he kept him in it the first half. You know what Duke has? A lot of weapons, a lot more than just RJ, and a lot more than just Cooper Flagg. They got a lot of dudes.
Mm-hmm. Mike?
I mean, think about all the bubble teams tonight and who they're playing. And it's, UNC's trying to punch their ticket playing against arguably the best team in the country. It's just so the level of shot making that Carolina had, I'd say through the first 26 minutes of this game, almost 30 minutes, the level of shot making, the intensity defensively, 99.9% of college basketball. If you do that, you're up, like in terms of the opponents you're playing, you're up double digits probably. But you played the 0.1% tonight in Duke. And it's amazing to me. Like, this is a Duke team that's just riddled with NBA prospects, a bunch of guys that are going to hear their name called in about 3 months. And the dude that flipped this game was a guy that came off the bench in Maliq Brown. And his return, I think, is what gives me so much more optimism for this team. I was already, very bullish on them to win a title, but with him specifically, I mean, the first half, you could see what Carolina was doing. They're trying to spread the floor out, playing that middle third, Maliq up top. And Maliq is great as a defensive anchor, but getting him out on the perimeter and having him move around, I mean, the Carolina finished around him a few times, getting downhill and getting by him. And then in the second half, I mean, I think it was 54-49, maybe, when Maliq Brown checked in. I mean, they were plus 12 in the 6 minutes, in that 6 minute stretch to overtake North Carolina and get that lead with Maliq Brown in, plus 12. And just, he knocks down 2 threes. His disruption defensively, they tried to ISO him up top as well. He's able to level him off. Mike? Go ahead. Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of a little bit? It reminds me of when UConn in 2023, right? When they would have that lineup where you're playing Adama Sanogo at the 5 and you play a certain way defensively and you're blitzing all these ball screens and you're trying to blow stuff up in the half court. And then you bring Klingon in and you throw it into that deep drop and you just kind of say, all right, we're going to give you a completely different look, but we are just as good at executing this defensively the same exact way, or a completely different offense, but we execute it just as well. It feels like Duke has the ability to do that because they play the drop. Sometimes they switch with Maliq, and I don't know if I love it, but then they bring in Maliq Brown, and it's like you got 5 guys that can literally guard 1 through 5 on the floor right here. Like, all of them are plus defense. Like, what are you going to do? You can't do anything against the teams that play like that defensively.
Well, the thing with Maliq too, I know he got beat a few times, but what makes Duke so good defensively And a lot of times it's not just when you look at really good defensive teams, and you could say the same about Houston, you could say the same about, Tennessee to a degree as well. Like those really good defensive teams, it's not just their ability to keep the ball in front. It's not just their ability to take your ball or to jump passing lanes. It's the recovery. Like it's the way they recover. And Duke is so sound positionally first. Like all those dudes are in the right position first, so that when it comes time to help, they don't have to come in to help and then go back out. They're already in help. And then, I think Billis had mentioned it as well on the broadcast, but it's a one-way recovery. It's not two ways. So that's what makes them so good. It's the IQ to be where you need to be first. And that allows that recovery to be quicker and be able to stay home on shooters and plug gaps. And it's so impressive because it's so unique for a young team. That is incredibly unique for a young team. But I'm seeing, when you see Maliq Brown go in there, that's what I see is you can play virtually any defensive coverage with him. And that's a guy that's coming off your bench that literally play. He won't be an all league defender because he just didn't get enough time essentially, but he is an all league defender. He really is. And that's a guy that's, again, coming off your bench in addition to like Mason Gillis, who comes in and knocks down a shot. I thought Caleb Foster was good in his few minutes as well. Just unreal, man.
It's crazy. They could have literally 6 guys that are all league defenders on their team. That's how good Duke is defend. They're an absolute cheat code.